guys, back to our YouTube channel. Thanks for your great support. Ensure umelike video ili iweze kufikia watu wengi. Nimekuja kurealize wakati ambapo hii story itashika moto, unaenda kusahau kulike. Na nikakuomba tu mapema kwa moyo mkunjufu, ensure umelike ili tuweze kusonga mbele kwa pamoja. Na nasema asanteni sana kwa zile likes zenu, na wale wanatazama kwa mara ya kwanza, please guys ensure una subscribe ili tufike 100,000 subscribers. Asanteni sana. Unajua guys, venye tunaongea saizi, William Ruto amejua tu the only thing anaenda kufanya ni kumake sure iwe ngumu iwe rahisi, lazima atoke na Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa. Eugene Wamalwa anatoka upande wa Western Region, Kalonzo anatoka Ukambani. And ukiangalia vizuri, Rigathi Gachagua hawezi vie a presidential seat. So the only person anaenda kuvia a presidential seat kwa upande wa opposition ni Kalonzo Musyoka. So William Ruto iwapo atafaulu kuvunja opposition team ambayo inajaribu kuundwa na Rigathi Gachagua, then automatic 2027 bado tutaendelea kuongozwa na William Samoei Arap Ruto, na ndio tutaumia sana. So now Kalonzo Musyoka and Rigathi Gachagua wamekuwa wagumu zaidi, na kila siku wanaendelea kupata reports William Ruto anawinda Kalonzo Musyoka amtoe pale juu. Kalonzo Musyoka wana ODM wamedeclare war kwamba we are going to support Kalonzo Musyoka. Juu kama kuna mtu amesimama na Raila Odinga for a very long time ni Kalonzo Musyoka. Sikiza.
In the meetings where people were discussing about who is going to be the candidate, and three times Kalonzo has said nakuachia wewe ndugu yangu Raila. In 2013, in 2017, and in 2022 where he said I don't even need a position.
Na ukiangalia wana Kenya kwanza wameanza kuwa na wasiwasi. Kwa nini wana ODM wameanza kutaka kusupport Kalonzo Musyoka? Unaona? Pia wana claim William Ruto alimake sure Raila Odinga amekuwa prime minister. Unaona? And after that wanasema ya kwamba kama kuna mtu anafaa kuendosiwa by ODM party ni William Samoei Arap Ruto. Sikiza.
There are people who are trying to confuse people here. They are now trying to tell us how they sacrifice for Raila. I want to tell them, speaking from Kenya, there is a difference. You did not sacrifice for Raila. Raila sacrificed for you. Kama wewe una insist kukuwa running mate na ukipatiwa unashindwa kuleta kura ya kutosha mpaka ipitishe baba, ni wewe umesaidia baba ama baba amekusaidia? Si nyinyi mnajua 2007 sisi tulikuwa, mimi the first voter ever voted from councillor to president was for the party of ODM. Kwa hivyo mtu asituambie as if they are more ODM than us. We are also founder members of ODM. ODM is a movement. We are part and parcel of this party also. So mtu asikae akisema ati yo sijui nani. Baba akituacha na Mwenyezi Mungu aweke roho lake mahali pema. Wakati mzee ametuacha mkiwa kwa chama cha ODM, na amewaacha kama jamii, kama mumeungana, kama mnaongea sauti moja ndani ya chama cha ODM. Musikubali wale wanataka kuleta migawanyiko. Musikubali watu walete migawanyiko wakati marehemu baba wetu amepumzika. Ile heshima baba alituonyesha, akatuonyesha kufanya kazi na huyu Randere na Opio na William Ruto. Watu wa Ugunja tutakaa hapo. Kwa hivyo mimi naomba kwa heshima sana, mumeamua mtatokea wakati wa uchaguzi mdogo, ili tuonyeshe wale watu wa ukabila, wale wa migawanyiko ya kuwa Ugunja na Nyanza, yote mumeamua, muko tayari na chama ni ODM.
So kuna fight pale. Na I can assure you, iwapo Stephen Kalonzo ama William Ruto ataendosiwa na wana ODM automatic, mwenye anaenda kuwa endorsed by ODM party ndo anaenda kuwa the president of the Republic of Kenya in 2027. Naona watu wangu, and ukiangalia vizuri Rigathi Gachagua and Stephen Kalonzo wanajaribu kupigania ni nani atakuwa controller wa opposition team.
I would say that particular visit gave Kalonzo some mileage, but that does not mean it is a justification to be the right opposition presidential flag bearer. What I would say on the onset is that the players who actually are corporate affiliates who want now to form these united opposition must apply these as equals. And therefore, no single player within this particular this particular occasion should be taken easy, because anybody out of them can be the flag bearer. And what I would say is that the speculation can be there. People can speculate who can be. Jubilee has presented their candidate, who is Matiang'i, and they have fronted Matiang'i still to the same team, to Robbie, to be the flag bearer. It is not automatic. Let me say DCP has fronted Gachagua to the team, also to Robbie. But at the tail end, I think they will look for a formula probably where they will seek some eminent leaders, maybe one from every single party or a two number, and then these people will look for various diverse of factors which will be able to give them the best candidate to be the flag bearer. Note this, in any case, if it is numbers that will speak, then one like Gachagua can start to say, I have the majority. And therefore, that should not be a factor, because you need Kalonzo, you also need Matiang'i, you also need Wamarwa to win the battle. So what matters here in this particular coalition is people should approach the discussion in the spirit of oneness and victory. Because failure to that, then they will not going to have sacrifice. Because everyone of them qualifies to be the president. But if they will not go to what we call sacrifice, then it can be a very tall order. But we must have one. And therefore, anybody out of them must approach this discussion on an open mind, that it may be me, it may be not.
Yes.
And when it fails to be you, it can become a big battle.
Yet we've seen some of these leaders make the pilgrimage to Bondo. All of them, some of them choice leaders of those parties. And Eugene Wamalwa took some bulls to Bondo. Natembeya did the same, Matiang'i as well. Yeah. But the reaction that Kalonzo got, does that put him a step ahead of the rest? That the kind of dividend he got from his pilgrimage to Bondo gives him an advantage?
You know, for the first time, I have had issues with the people who give Kalonzo the advice to move the way he has been moving. But for the first time, I congratulated whoever it was that gave Kalonzo that move to make, because we know for sure that that was really attractive for Kalonzo, and it was going to confirm something, one thing. Number one, what Wakili has alluded to, and Mama Ida Odinga talked about this during the time she was eulogizing Raila on the burial date. She said, the reason why I have survived with Raila for these 50 years is because I learned one thing, to only inherit his friends, but not his enemies. So Mama Ida told the nation, and that was also by extension to the Luo nation, that don't inherit political enemies of your leader. Mm-hmm. Only inherit his friends, because you never know what tomorrow looks like. Tomorrow, this person you inherited from him as the enemy is now his friend. It takes you a longer time to adjust and become the friend to the other person. So one thing for sure that happened was for Kalonzo to confirm to the nation that the Luo nation don't have a problem with him. And that was the only thing he was going to confirm. And one thing, again, remains obvious. In the game of power, power lives in the spotlight. And the Raila Odinga's grave right now is where the spotlight has been for the past 1 month or so. So power lives in the spotlight. So Eugene would go there, everybody would go there, even Rigiji should go there, because in the game of power, if you are outside the spotlight, then you don't exist. Mm-hmm. So Kalonzo wanted to secondly confirm, I exist in a big way in this election coming. Attention is actually the currency of influence. So you try and make you make it impossible to be ignored. Meaning you are on the spotlight, you are looking at all the possible means to influence things, because in the game of power, somehow the invisible has already been forgotten. So Kalonzo do not want Kenyans to imagine that he has been forgotten in this race. But one thing I know also with my people, in the words of Rigiji in the days that had passed, he said, Raila should not be lied to by people like Atwoli and the rest. He is unacceptable in the mountain, and so mountain should be respected. We would say today that Kalonzo is a very good man in bad company, because we still remember those words. And so Raila Odinga's supporters in the Luo nation would simply look at the Kalonzo as an individual and realize this is a good man for sure. But he is in a bad company. So how are we going to actually do this thing when he sticks to bad company? They say
which is the bad company?
This is what Rigathi said, that they don't have a problem with their son Uhuru. Their problem is the man, the bad company Uhuru was bringing kwa Mulema. That is the same word and the same measure we are using today. Kalonzo, you are a good man for sure if you are listening to me. You are only in a bad company.
Okay, the suggestion now is that even President William Ruto is very much interested. That's the front page of the Star. And I think on one of the cartoons, I think the People Daily cartoon has a caricature of the president as a fisherman, and the fish that he's trying to get from the... Meaning that, yes, it would appear that Kalonzo Musyoka is attractive across board. Do you think that he's also very attractive to William Ruto right now, that is what he should go for?
He is. In fact, if you were to listen to the sort of utterances that came from the lips of William Ruto, Dr. William Ruto Samoei, His Excellency, the President, in Samburu, he was expressing this against the united opposition in bitterness, like even saying that they have no brains. Attacking them like, do you think that you are the people who are only entitled to lead this country? I mean, he was visibly agitated. And when now you combine that with what came from Bondo in terms of this implicit, indirect endorsement of Honorable Kalonzo, you arrive at no other conclusion than that now the flow has shifted for him in terms of his political targets, in order for him to weaken the opposition, or they who can confront him at the ballot in 2027. And Kalonzo then appears to be right at the forefront. And so he's going to channel everything, every resource that he can get, every trick in the book, and 100 not in the book that he can get, so that to either divert the unity of the opposition or totally conflagate them and make sure that Honorable Kalonzo has or is directionless. And that's very important to me, directionless. Mm-hmm. So that then he's not going to be appealing to the Kenyan people. And this is the crux of what happened in Bondo, that suddenly Kalonzo has this attractiveness that so outshines him as a president. Because when you compare that, he was there during the funeral himself, he took center stage. It was like, this is my function. This is me, bidding farewell to him whom I had brought onto the broad-based government. And now Kalonzo goes there, and he is the darling of the host. He's the darling of the Siaya governor. And like my good friend has said here, Mr. Odede, the Luo nation. And this did not come across during the period of the funeral, where the mass of ceremony, as it were, the default mass of ceremony, Ruto himself was, like waiting to reap that sort of, result. And so he's going to say, wait. No, wait a minute. The elevation of Kalonzo poses a direct threat to me. Why? In terms of numbers, then he has sliced off a huge chunk of the Luo vote by the mere endorsement by Mama Ida of Kalonzo, which did not happen at that time. And then you hear these murmurings and the voices coming from Luo Nyanza during the funeral that, as for 2020, we're still in the broad-based. But as for 2027, that's a different ball game. So he did not receive that sort of direct endorsement. But Kalonzo has. So automatically, in the Machiavellian game, this is the person to try and target, either deflate or deflect from the goal and the purpose. And he's going to do all of that as we go along. So I think Kalonzo should be very careful how he goes about articulating his agenda and how then he counterbalances his newfound favor, as it were, nationally and especially in Bondo among the Luo people, and the goal to oust the incumbent. That will be a burden on him.
And as you make your final comments, there's the other issue that has also come up, and I think a lot has been said about a certain demand for 50% of government. And do you agree that that could be a problem, whether government propaganda or there's reality to it, that perceived demand by certain quarters within the United Opposition of 50% of any government that they may form, that could actually be a problem?
One, let me say, those are hearsay. Those are speculations from that. Let me say, there can never be. If you are coalition united, or a united coalition, which forms a coalition for a particular cause, I do not expect that.
So kufikia hapo, ensure umelike video na nasema thanks for your great support. I want to ask a simple question. Kama wewe ni mfuasi wa Raila Amolo Odinga, unajua wale wafuasi wa Raila Odinga ama wale viongozi ambao wamekuwa wandani wa Raila Odinga miaka mingi, achana wale watu wanaingia pale wanaanza kupiga panganga broad-based nini, wale ambao wamekomaa pale, watu kama kina James Orengo wamesema the best person ni Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Wewe unasema aje kama wewe ni mfuasi wa Raila Odinga wandani kabisa, utaniambia nini? Ni nani anafaa kuwa endorsed by ODM party? Niambie tu kwenye comment section. So your thoughts, uniambie kwenye comment section. Siku njema. Bye bye.